A young man whose father is a carpenter grows up working in his father's shop. One day he puts down his tools and walks out of his father's shop. He starts preaching on the corners of the streets and in the nearby countryside, walking from place to place, preaching all the while, even though he is not an ordained minister. He does this for 3 years, and then he is arrested, tried, and convicted. There is no court of appeal, so he is executed at the age of 33 along with 2 common thieves. Those in charge of his execution roll dice to see who gets his clothing, the only possessions he has. His family cannot afford a burial place for him, so he is interred in a borrowed tomb. End of story? No. This uneducated, propertyless man who left no written word has for 2,000 years had a greater effect on the world than all the rulers, kings, emperors, all the conquerors, generals, and admirals, all the scholars, scientists, and philosophers who have ever lived, all of them put together. How do we explain that unless he really was who he said he was? I can remember a long time ago when I was at a church that was practicing for a big Easter pageant, and I had my daughter Emily on stage with me during the practice. She was about 3 years old, and as the practice went on, it came to the point where Jesus is coming down the aisle and he's being beaten as they prepared to crucify him. And I realized quickly that she had not seen these kinds of things in church before, or anywhere for that matter, because she started clutching harder onto my leg and getting closer to me, and I could tell that she was upset by what she was seeing. And so I tried to calm her down and say, this is just pretend. It's not real. And she was asking me, what are we doing? And I said, well, we're having this Easter pageant, and so we're reenacting what they did to Jesus all those years ago when he died on the cross for us. And she kind of was troubled by that, and she said, well, what are they doing to him? And I said, well, they're punishing him. I mean, how do you explain this to a 3-year-old? So I said, they're punishing him. And she said, they're punishing him? And I said, yes. And she goes, but what did he do? And I said, well, he didn't do anything. But then later I thought that probably wasn't the right way to answer, because he did it all, in fact. He did what only he could do, and that was to be the Savior of the world. So Romans 8:5-8 says that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. While we were still sinners. No guarantee that we were going to go his way, but he still went to the cross on your behalf and on mine. In 1 John 4:14, it says, we have seen with our own eyes and now testify that the Father sent his Son to be the Savior of the world. He did what only he could do, be the Savior of the world. To him be the glory.